Where are you guys from? What country?
Pakistan.
Pakistan.
India.
India. Where are you from?
Turkey.
Turkey?
Yeah.
Turkey. Okay.
India.
India. Where are you guys from?
Turkey.
Turkey. Turkey? Where are you guys from?
China.
China.
Ecuador.
Ecuador? Where are you guys from?
India.
India.
India. India.
India.
India. Sagar Baba.
India. India.
India.
India?
India.
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 India?
Yes. India.
India.
All India?
India.
India. Iran.
Iran.
You're all from Iran?
Yes.
Why'd you come?
No freedom.
No freedom?
Yes, in Iran. Iran is a dangerous country. No freedom for speak, for writing, for singing, for thinking.
How does it feel that all these people from all these countries you just heard have no business being here? They're not here legally, and there's no background checks on them. How do you think about that? That was an hour east of San Diego, in the middle of nowhere. No border patrol. In fact, Bill Melugin, Fox News, who this report is from that I just played for you, he also said that these people literally have no one to pick them up. Border Patrol, they waited for hours. Nobody picked them up, so they got a lift, and they just got picked up and drove away, and now they're going to be gotaways. And the woman driving them from the lift may have just committed a federal crime by smuggling them. That's what happens when one of these kids or 20, 30-somethings gets caught in a police chase near the border with illegals in a car. They get arrested. That's a federal crime. You go to jail for 5, 10 years or more. Do you feel safe with Joe Biden's wide-open border policy? What scares you the most about how Joe Biden's handling this invasion? 800-288-WBAP is our number. 800-288-9227. Kevin in North Richland Hills, you're on 820 AM and now 93.3 FM WBAP. Hi, Kevin.
Hey, good research there. There have been sleeper cells here for a very long time. Mm-hmm. I met a guy that works for the FBI, mm-hmm. and I was at a pool party with him with our daughters, and he said, we've been tracking these people, and this was back in 1995, 96.
Oh, he told you this in 96, 95. Wow.
And he said, we've got sleeper cells all over the United States. And I said, well, why don't you do anything about this? He said, we're waiting to look where the money trail is going. And I said, well, why don't you just go in and bust them? And he said, well, we got to wait until the guys that are in the hierarchy pop their heads out of the dirt. And I said, well, that's not a good idea. He said, well, that's the only idea that we've got. And I said, I'm abiding by my superiors. So this has been going on for a long time. And have you ever seen the? But
has this invasion gone on with 12 million people in 3.5 years? People from Turkey, China, Congo, India, Iran, unvetted, just crossing over and then going and doing whatever they want. Has it been like that? 12 million in 3 years ever before that you're aware of ever in this country?
No.
And then this, by the way, speaking of the FBI, this is all with the FBI Director Chris Wray saying twice in the past several months that he's never seen it this dangerous before, that every single red light is flashing for a warning for terrorists.
Yes, and they're not doing anything.
No, they are. They're doing something. They're flooding the country with more dangerous illegals who are showing up at our bases to kill us. Yes.
I like the way you phrase that. You're absolutely correct. The best scenario that I can say is the second movie, Red Dawn 2, and not with Patrick Swayze, the other one. And it's a movie, but that will get people thinking about what is to come. And I want you to keep up the good work. You do an excellent job. And just keep trucking on.
Thanks,
we need
Kevin.
you out there.
Thank you. Appreciate you, Kevin. Well, we need all the folks out there that are getting this out. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Do you feel safe with Biden's wide-open border policy, and what scares you the most about how Biden's handling this invasion? Last night, Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin said the first Republican to win Virginia in a long, long time as a governor. He wrote a letter to President Biden saying the attempted breach at Quantico with these illegals that I mentioned in the last break, two illegals from Jordan, trying to break into the military base in Quantico, Virginia, the Marine base, with a box truck, lying, saying they work for Amazon. The federal government's silence on the immigration status of these individuals involved reiterates the gravity of your failure, Joe. Governor Youngkin says, to secure the southern border and to provide state governments notice of illegal migrant locations so I can protest the safety of all Virginians. So basically what he's saying is Quantico's in his state, and he's the governor of Virginia. Meantime, Bill Melugin says, these are all tweeted on my Twitter feed. You can see them at Chris Crock Show. That's at Chris Crock Show, CHRISKROK. Bill Melugin says helicopter shows Border Patrol agents in Santa Teresa, New Mexico, trying to stop smugglers and illegals from scaling the border wall with a ladder as they have rocks, bottles, and dirt thrown at them while trying to make unbelievable, he says. Border Patrol, another post. Border Patrol is so overstretched. The illegal immigrants who crossed here, as I mentioned to you already, they've been waiting for hours, so they just got a lift. Some of them are Colombians, now they're gotaways. Second of all, here's another post. He said, this is all today. As we are leaving the scene of one mass illegal crossing in Jacumba, California now, we just came across many more illegal migrants walking down a road aimlessly after they just crossed illegally as well. Border Patrol here stretched thin. Agents nearby are dealing with another group. So they just come and they just, from all over the world. How does it make you feel to hear China, India, Pakistan, with their accents, and Iran and Turkey? How does it make you feel? Do you know who these people are? Do you know what their names are? Do you know if they've killed Jews or they want to kill Jews? Do you know if they want to kill us? Do you know what their background is? The two Jordanians. The one thing is we have a tremendous relationship with Jordan and King Abdullah and his whole his state under his government. And the thing is that they're going to find out who these people are, and they're going to talk to they're going to share what they know from Jordan. We're going to find out who they are. But it doesn't get more obvious that it's a terrorist attempt to get into Quantico with two Jordanians illegally in the country with a box truck trying to get in, lying, saying they're with Amazon. Okay? That's what Joe's done to this country. Meanwhile, today, thankfully, embarrassment for Chuck Schumer, the Daily Mail reports, as his second try to pass $22.5 billion border bill stunningly fails, putting Biden in a bind. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that the Senate passed it before, but it's just the House wouldn't do it, I think. But listen to this. This time around on this amnesty bill that Joe Biden says will fix all this, which is all a lie. It would allow up to 5,000 illegals a day to come in. After 7 days of 5,000 illegals, that's 35,000 illegals in 1 week. Then he would look at shutting the border down. It would also give billions to blue states and big blue cities that have the illegals to take care of the illegals, to give them money to feed them and house them. Get the living you-know-what out of here. Get out of here. The only thing we have for you is a boot in your butt to get out of this country. And then also would fund lawyers for the illegals to keep them here. It's a vile, disgusting slap in the face. And so today, many Democrats actually joined the Republicans to shoot down the effort. 43-50 vote. It lost by a margin of 7 votes. It didn't come near what the victory would be. And Joe Biden reversed 94 executive actions for Trump. And now in June, he's looking at reversing some of those because of that. All he's got to do is 3 things he rolled back, and that's all he has to do is put these 3 things back. And I'm quoting Senator Ted Cruz, who mentioned this brilliantly today, as he's a great debater. Number 1, border wall. He stopped the border wall immediately. Build the border wall. Start again. Number 2, catch and release. He ordered them to catch and release now, which is what he's doing for all these illegals. Instead, stop, catch, and release. Number 3, remain in Mexico. He ended Trump's remain in Mexico. You do those 3 things, and the border will be under control. Joe doesn't want them. He killed those, and this is what he wants. He wants this invasion. This is his invasion. He loves it. He glorifies it while he destroys us. All right, coming up next on the Chris Crock Show. A stagflation warning from one of the top bankers in the country and the world. He says he thinks stagflation could be coming. Now a majority of Americans believe we're in a recession in the U.S., but we're not. But they wrongly believe we're in a recession. I can't wait to talk to you about what you're going through and what your situation is. The folks are not okay. Fewer parents today say they are doing okay financially. Is another story I want to share with you. And the Fed is now once again considering raising interest rates even higher, even though our mortgage rates are now over 7% in this country. Joe Biden has just literally destroyed this country, and he continues to defecate on it by his own decision and by his choice. This is his plan. It is vile. It is reprehensible and disgusting. It makes me want to throw up in my mouth right now, but I can't because I'm doing a radio show. All that's next on the Chris Crock Show at 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3. News Talk 820 WBAP now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset, y'all. 800-288-WBAP is our number. That's 800-288-9227. Okay, stagflation warning today from JP Chase Morgan's Jamie Dimon. That is a possible stagflation, and he said that today. He warned stagflation would be the worst outcome for the economy. He's the head of the world's biggest bank. He cannot rule out a hard landing in the U.S. economy. How could anyone who reads history say there's no chance, he said. He's America's most influential banker, says the Daily Mail, and says the worst outcome of where things are headed right now are stagflation, which is inflation continuing to go up, but unemployment being high and slow growth. Growth slows. Economists consider stagflation, last seen in the U.S. in the 70s, Jimmy Carter, to be worse than recession. It would send stocks down, hitting 401ks and other retirement savings. The banker said last month in a separate interview he worried the U.S. economy looks more like the 70s than we've seen before. His warning comes after an analyst who works for him at JP Chase Morgan warned the stock market could soon become volatile despite reaching record highs this year. He says, Dimon says, I just think the odds are higher than people think of that stagflation. Okay? The JP Chase Morgan analyst that he was talking about, this reference there, he's their chief market strategist. He says the S&P 500 could fall by 20% to 4,200 by the end of this year. He said interest rates, higher levels of geopolitical uncertainty, thanks to Joe Biden's leadership, obviously, is what's causing that too. Now, let's add that into something else. A majority of Americans wrongly believe, The Guardian reports, the majority of Americans wrongly believe the United States is in a recession. The majority of people in this country, I'm repeating it, say that we are now in a recession, even though we are not in a recession. It is how they feel, okay? Nearly 3 in 5 Americans, 3 in 5, that's 60% of all Americans believe the United States economy is in a recession, which means it's shrinking. 56% say the U.S. is experiencing recession. 49%, half the country believes the S&P stock market index is going down, even though it went up 24% last year. 50% believe the unemployment is at a 50-year high, even though it's at under 4%, a 50-year low. So here's my question for you. Why do so many people think we're in a recession, why we have high unemployment and all this stuff when it's not the case? I'll tell you why, because they feel like it is, and that's all that matters. So here's my questions for you on this. Here's another little piece. Parents, this is from Axios today. Parents are struggling financially as childcare costs rise. The share of parents right now who say they're doing okay financially dropped significantly last year, and it's down again, more so this year, 11 points down from 2021. Parents feel parents are not doing okay. Okay? Also, the Federal Reserve announcing today that they actually, in their notes, this is Wednesday's reserve meeting, May reserve meeting, they said they actually may, They have a willingness to possibly tighten further policies should risks to inflation materialize in a way that such action may become appropriate. What does that mean? Translation, your interest rates may rise again. Again, more interest rate increases, more, because they're trying to stave off inflation and or stagflation. This is the destruction of the policy of this man in this office in White House who is he's printing money for free tuitions that you and I are paying for that causes inflation. He did it again today. He did another one today. He did a big one yesterday. He did another one today. The man is destroying this country. That's why you saw between 15 and 25,000 people in the Bronx show up for Trump today in wildly blue, deep, a predominantly minority community. They showed up for Trump. By the way, home sales fell again in April after high mortgage rates dampened activity. All right. I'm going to share with you the McDonald's price increases under Joe Biden. It's breathtaking what the McDonald's prices have increased under Joe Biden. Coming up at 9:45. We're going to pause in a minute for my dear friend Randy Martin. He's my CPA, one of my sponsors from IRSprob.com. Hunter Biden is looking at tax evasion trial coming up in the near future. We'll talk about that. The IRS says it's broke after Joe Biden gave him $87 billion. They're saying they're broke already. We are going to have a huge amount of audits increasing on people like you and me, middle class and upper middle class people, not rich folks, not $400,000 a year, but we're talking people between like 40 or 30,000 a year and $200,000 a year, 225, actually between 40 and the poorest of the poor, the middle class and the upper middle class that don't go over 400. We're going to get screwed, us, you and me in that bracket. But all that's coming up next with Randy Martin from IRSprob.com, my friend, my sponsor. But also, after that at 9:45, I'm going to be asking you questions about the stagflation, about the recessionary beliefs from people even though we're not in a recession. Do you actually feel like things are getting worse or at least not getting better in our economy right now? I'm going to ask you about that. And, does it matter to you that statistics supposedly show that things are getting better? And what are you noticing about your finances and budgeting in your daily life? What changes have you made? Plus, as I said, the prices on McDonald's from pre-Joe Biden to post-Joe Biden, like right when he took office to now, it's unbelievable how bad the McDonald's. Because there was a McDonald's one that came out like a month or two or three ago, and you know what? I was the only one that didn't talk about it. You know why? Because it was from like 2014 to now. That means nothing. It was angering me. Why is it even a story? Do you care what inflation was 2014 from now, or do you care what Joe Biden 3 years ago and now? Because that's happened in the past 3 years. I got to tell you something. I didn't even mention that story. I didn't tweet that story. It's the dumbest story in the world. Why do I give a frog's fat, what about inflation from 10 years ago versus now? Give me inflation over the past 3 to 4 years. That's what I want, because that's where it's destroying us. All right, we'll get to that at 9:45. Randy Martin up next. And another thing. The IRS has a warning they just issued about scams for all of us with tax scams. Right now, they just issued it. All that's coming up next in the Chris Crock Show on News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3. Hey, by the way, you gave us a little tip. My beautiful wife said, I always love that I can ask you something that, was it the 1098? Is that tax form about paying for tuition or something?
Oh, yeah. If you're paying for your kids' tuition, man, make sure you're getting a 1098. A 1098T, if you pay for mortgage interest, you get a 1098 for the mortgage. Well, this is a 1098T. It's for tuition. And usually it comes in the kid's name, so the parents don't always get a copy. Mm-hmm. But make sure your kid gives you a copy. Make sure your kid's not filing his own tax return and getting the credit, reimbursed to him, because if you paid his tuition, that's yours, brother. And those are good, and they're kind of hard to get those forms. But if it's your dependent, you can get the credit.
Well, it's even harder when your son's in Japan doing a semester there right now, but we got it. We got
Yeah, is it in English or?
Inglés, por favor. No, actually, no. It's in Spanish, even though he's in Japan. I'm just kidding. No, yeah, exactly. It is in English, bro. Do you English, bro? Do you English, as they say? Well, we have some great stuff to talk about today on the tax front. Okay, the IRS, are they poor? Is that what I'm hearing now?
Man, they're need more funds, is what they're saying. You know, Chris, I equivalent. This reminds me of back when I was in school, and like the rich kid is asking me to borrow some money. I'm kind of like, dude, you're driving a brand new car to school, but yet you want me to loan you some money. The IRS is claiming that they ain't got enough funds to do what they need to do. So. Poor little rich kid.
Wow. Yeah, and they just got like $87 billion though, didn't they?
Yeah, but man, they had to give 25% of that got taken away.
Yay!
And, the funny thing is they haven't even spent a full 2% of it yet, which is kind of scary.
Well, then why are they asking for more?
But it's probably a good time to be asking. Daddy Warbucks Biden for more.
Yeah, I mean,
he's dole some out to you.
He's got a lot of your money and my money to spend, doesn't he?
Right.
Okay, Randy, there's another thing here. There's tax scams that the IRS is issuing a brand new consumer alert. It looks like there's several things in this. Talk to me what they're saying.
Yeah, there's quite a few scams that are going on. I mean, we saw a lot of these hit when the ERC, the Employee Retention Credit. There are a lot of scammers out there that really put it to small business owners. And now there's a lot of scams on it's sick and medical family leave credits for small business owners, and sometimes they're not even owners that these scammers are getting these folks to complete these forms, and then of course they're getting a cut of it and telling them, hey, you're going to get a refund of $5,000. You're paying a $1,000 fee. You'll be getting yours here pretty soon. That's kind of how they're working. They're promising a large refund from the federal government, but you got to make it a deposit first or pay some fees first. And if it sounds too good to be true on a lot of these credits and refundable credits, it is. We're hearing a lot of people coming in and saying that they want to get a fuel credit. Well, you can get the federal taxes or a portion of the federal taxes back from fuel if you're a farmer and you're using the diesel in your tractor and it's not on the highway, or if it's for some types of off-road use. But that tax is there to pay for the roads, so they're not going to it's not legitimate to get a credit back for that if you used it on the road.
So some of these preparers are doing this.
There's some other ones out there too that are smaller, but those are some of the big ones that are really hitting right now.
Okay, now there's another question I had for you. Is the IRS is saying that its number of audits is about to surge. Then there's a claim of, well, here's who they claim they're going to be targeting. What is the truth on that? What are they claiming, and what is the truth on that?
Yeah, so when they first came out with this, they said, we're not going to hit anybody under $400,000. And they said, well, unless you're single, then it gets cut down to $200,000. And still though, I was kind of thinking, okay, well, that's not too bad a deal. But now, really, what they're looking at is people that are grossing that type of money. So, if you sold your home during the year, and your income, including the sale of the house, was over $200,000 or over $400,000. Boom! Congratulations, you're in the group.
Oh my gosh! If you sold your private home, but can't you're not taxed though if you buy another home though, right?
Well, no. If it's your private home, there's some pretty large exemption amounts, but it does boost your gross income over a certain level. And so they're looking at gross income. Now, it's not taxable income, it's gross income. So it really shoots it up there. Folks that trade stock a lot, well, the proceeds that they get are, you can buy and sell the same share of stock, and it looks like you traded $1 million shares of stock or $1 million worth of stock over the year. They would be put into that group. So that group is pretty broad. It's broader than most people think. And if it's business owners, they're looking at the gross revenue. They're not taking it net of the expenses. And so they're really casting a broad net. But, they're going after more audits. And here again, those numbers are 400,000 taxpayers owning making over 400,000 a year. That's as GW say, that's fuzzy math right there.
Mm-hmm.
But they're also going after people that haven't filed in a long time. That's an area that they're hitting. And of course they're going after the large companies. They keep saying that they're going to go after large companies. I'm not really expecting them to come out.
Well, your signal dropped out there for a second. Go ahead. You're not asking what?
I'm not seeing them make that much out of going after the larger corporations. That's not a good area to fish in.
Mm-hmm.
These guys are pretty well buttoned up. And most of the high income earners that are, the millionaires, the billionaires, those guys are pretty well buttoned up too. So I'm not seeing too much refund coming out of this, or too much income, additional revenues coming into the federal government for this. But they're wanting to go after middle America. That's where the money is and always has been in the U.S.
And they know that. Like, you believe that Joe Biden and his people on his administration, they know they're going to come after us, but they're pretending and lying that they're going after only people above 400,000. Is that basically what you're saying? They know it and they're just being dishonest?
Correct. Yeah. I mean, to make the numbers that they're wanting to make, that's what they have to do.
Mathematically, it's impossible to do what he says they're trying to do publicly, right?
Correct.
Okay.
They can't get those numbers from here. It just doesn't add up.
And it's just it's disgusting because we're being destroyed with inflation and everything, energy prices, everything. Okay, here's another thing on here. Here's who will face the increased audits. I guess we've already kind of hit that. They're going to be people like us. And then the myth of I love this here. This is from CBS News also. The myth of the 87,000 armed IRS agents. Talk to me about your honest opinion on that.
Yeah, so they came out at that. I don't think all of them are going to be armed. I think that is a myth. There will be a lot of them armed. A lot of them will be in the criminal investigation side of the IRS. They are armed. So, will there be a lot of them that are armed? Yeah, not 87,000. But the increase in the 87,000 employees is going to be the collection, the revenue officers, the revenue agents, which are auditors. They're going to be, I would love to see them increase the guys that are checking out the fraudsters. That's where we need some bolstering. All these guys that are doing these scams for these credits we were just talking about, they need to really increase the head count for that area, and really take a strong stance on it. That just kind of seems to be overlooked, and it's kind of just it's buyer beware. If you go with one of these scammers, it's your own fault. But they're going after the revenue, so they're going to be going for auditors and collectors. Is what they're going for.
Randy, if people want to get in touch with you, if they need some assistance, what would be the reason they might want to call you at irsprob.com?
Yeah, if you are behind on tax filings, this is the time that you want to get caught up. People, a lot of us will procrastinate if given the opportunity. You don't want to procrastinate anymore. You don't want to, run the risk of leaving your family with this type of mess that needs to get cleaned up. You want to give us a call, or if you just find yourself owing the IRS more than you can afford to pay, or if you find yourself in the middle of an IRS audit, give us a call at 214-3000. That's 214-214-3000. Or look us up online at irsprob.com. That's IRSP. ROB.
I love the P-R-O-B. Okay, Randy, we appreciate you very much, my friend. We'll talk to you soon, okay?
Thanks.
Thank you, brother. There he goes. All right, there he goes. My friend and awesome partner and sponsor. Okay, coming up next, as promised at 9:45, we're going to take you to the number one spot for the illegal invasion filled with illegals from Pakistan, China, India, Turkey, Bangladesh, and you're going to hear from a former military guy who has collected all their IDs. They're burning and discarding their IDs because they don't want you and me and our government to know who the heck they are. They're up all over the walls. They're everywhere. He's got these IDs in bags on display. It's unbelievable. Bill Melugin from Fox News was there. You'll hear that coming up next on the Chris Crock Show on News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset. Now, as promised at 9:45 tonight, I would play for you this an excerpt of this story from Bill Melugin on Fox News that aired, I believe, it aired yesterday. The report aired yesterday. And the setup here is he's a San Diego County resident, and he's former military. And he goes around and collects all the abandoned IDs from all the illegals that Joe Biden is inviting into this country. And he collects them, and he has them up in plastic baggies taped up to the wall to show you. And he has a room full of hundreds of them. They're burned, some of them are disfigured, some just abandoned there without being cut up. Some of them are cut up and such. And this is very scary. I mean, here's a guy whose passport says his ID says Galash Limindia, and he's from Georgia, the country, the former Soviet Republic. And this is a Mexican type ID, and it says hombre, as in male. And then, I mean, there's Chinese passports. You can look at some of them here. I'm kind of playing. There's one from Pakistan, a guy named Tariq Hafiz Abdullah. Sounds good, right? He's here illegally. What do you think, guys? Do you want him? He's a military-age man. He was, anyways, you like that? You want some guy from Pakistan named Tariq Hafiz Abdullah? You trust somebody from a terrorist state that harbored bin Laden? Yes, he's from Pakistan. He loves you. But he threw away his ID. How about Fan Shangen with his Chinese ID right here? He threw that on the ground. I see pictures of him. He's a nice military-aged man from China, apparently. Isn't that great? You like that? Here's what is that? It's a woman. I'm just moving forward and pausing on some of these images. It's very scary, to be honest with you. Here's somebody named Santa Bir Rana. Everything's in Islamic on this ID, thrown away. Isn't that great? You like that? Who knows who that person is, if they're a man or a woman. Here's something from Turkey, a passport from Turkey that was burned, so you can't see who it is. Looks like his name is Hussein Mirar. Isn't this great? I mean, dude, Turkey's a terrorist-friendly station. Here's somebody from Shandong, China. He's Asian Chinese guy, obviously. Looks like Ponchang, Qinfang. These people are all here illegally now. Another ID from some Asian nation. I can't tell what it is. Ripped up. Here's Galash Lamindia from Georgia. I think I mentioned him already. Just kind of moving through the video. I'm going to play for you the excerpt from Bill Melugin's presentation, his report in Pine Valley, California, yesterday. Here, hold on. I got to turn up the volume, get my buttons set right.
And then take a look at this. We met up with a local resident out here, Corey Gotero. He's former U.S. military. He goes out and he collects all of these discarded passports and ID cards from these illegal immigrants from all around the world as they cross here in the Jacumba area. He's got an entire room full of them. You'll see passports, IDs from China, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, many others. You'll notice many of them are burned or shredded or destroyed in some way as these illegal aliens try to destroy some of these documents as soon as they arrive here in the United States, trying to hide who they are and where they've been. And Gotero says that is a security concern.
They're just dropping this stuff on the ground to come here and assume a new identity. So that's a little bit scary with my military background and seeing the people that are coming across that male, these are all military-age males. People keep saying that. I've got the proof right here.
Now, you heard me say earlier that some of the illegal immigrants that came through here are called as special interest aliens. That means they should get additional DHS vetting. That doesn't mean they always do, though. Sources tell us that some of these countries don't share their law enforcement databases or their information on their own citizens with the United States, so there's really nothing to vet them against. And as we've seen before, guys, sometimes DHS will release somebody and then a few days later realize, oops, they have national security concerns. Then they have to go out, find them, and rearrest them.
It's just another report from Bill Melugin, Fox News. And when you look at by the way, this is on my Twitter profile. You can see it on my Twitter feed, at Chris Crock Show. That's at Chris Crock Show, ChrisKrock. And you can see the alarming video of all these IDs that this gentleman that you just heard from is collecting and how bad it is. And it is bad. And it's very scary to see that. That's what Joe Biden's doing to this country as well. Now, coming up next in the Chris Crock Show, we hit it for a few minutes earlier this hour, but I want to hit it where I can get interactive with you. We're going to talk about stagflation warning from J.P. Chase Morgan's biggest bank in the world, Jamie Dimon, the president of it, at least biggest bank in America. His warnings that we may have stagflation soon. Also, a majority of Americans wrongly believe we're in a recession, and most of them blame Biden. In Axios telling the folks are not okay. Fewer parents say they're doing okay financially, and the Fed is also now considering raising interest rates. Wow. So we're going to talk about that with you coming up next on the Chris Crock Show. Do you feel like things are getting worse, or at least not getting better in our economy right now? And I feel like things are getting worse because the administration that got us into this massive inflation and high energy prices and everything, they're not changing tactics. They're telling us things are great and that something's wrong with us if we're still not feeling it. So do you feel things are getting worse, or at least not getting better in our economy right now? And does it matter to you? The statistics supposedly show that things are getting better, quote unquote. It doesn't matter to me. Doesn't feel that way. Doesn't matter to me. It's not my life. It's not going on. And what are you noticing about your finances and your budgeting in your daily life? What changes have you made? We'll get into that coming up next on the Chris Crock Show. And then we're going to talk about, we'll have a little fun with this, triple digit speeds raise concerns on Central Expressway. Yes, triple digit speeds. We're going to talk about that and see how fast you go on some of our highways in the Metroplex. Be honest. I'll give you amnesty, at least just for an hour.